Most people think they're afraid of failing, but that's not the real fear. The real fear starts after things begin to work. When your life starts moving away from the version of yourself you learned how to survive as. That's the part no one really talks about. If you've ever felt motivated one day, then strangely heavy the next, or found yourself delaying things right when progress was possible.
This isn't laziness. It isn't a lack of discipline. And it isn't self-sabotage in the way people usually explain it. It's something quieter. And once you notice it, it's very hard to ignore. Because it doesn't feel like fear. It feels like something inside you is unsettled. We've been taught that fear looks dramatic, that it shows up as panic, doubt, or hesitation before trying. But the fear that shapes most lives doesn't look like that at all.
It shows up as procrastination without a clear reason, as overthinking decisions that should be simple, as losing excitement for things you genuinely wanted. And most people call this fear of failure. That explanation is comfortable because it keeps the deeper truth hidden. Here's the truth most people never hear clearly. You are not afraid of failing. You are afraid of outgrowing the version of yourself that learned how to cope. Your mind is deeply attached to what is familiar, even when what's familiar is painful, because familiarity feels safe. And change, even positive change, threatens identity, not happiness, identity. Your brain is not designed to make you fulfilled. It's designed to make you predictable. It wants to know what tomorrow will feel like, what your role is, what patterns to expect. When something begins to change, when your life starts moving forward, your brain quietly asks questions you don't consciously hear. Who am I if my old problems no longer define me? How will people treat me if I change? What happens if I succeed and can't go back? These questions don't arrive as thoughts. They arrive as discomfort, a vague sense of unease, a heaviness in the body, a sudden loss of momentum. So the system does what it has learned to do. It slows you down. It creates resistance. It pulls you back toward what feels known, not because it hates you, but because it doesn't yet recognize who you are becoming. This is why success can feel strangely dangerous, not because it's hard, but because it removes the identity you've been surviving with. Here's the part most people don't like admitting. Your struggle has become part of who you are. Not in a dramatic way, in a quiet, emotional way. It explains your choices. It protects you from expectations. It gives people a way to understand you, and gives you a way to understand yourself. So when something threatens to remove that struggle, your nervous system reacts as if something important is being taken away. This is why progress can feel heavier than stagnation. Stagnation hurts, but it's familiar. Growth feels uncertain, and uncertainty feels unsafe. This is also why forcing motivation often makes things worse. When you aggressively push yourself toward change, you increase the sense of internal threat. The mind responds with exhaustion, avoidance, numbness. And then you blame yourself for not trying hard enough. But the problem was never effort. It was safety. Your system didn't feel safe becoming someone new. This is where most advice fails. People tell you to think positive, to visualize harder, to repeat affirmations. But if your nervous system associates change with danger, no amount of positive thinking will override that response. In fact, it can make the resistance stronger, because now, on top of fear, there's pressure. Real change doesn't begin with confidence. It begins when your body learns, slowly, that nothing bad happens when things improve, that you won't lose love, that you won't be rejected, that you won't become unrecognizable even to yourself. Growth fails when identity is dragged forward too fast. Growth works when identity is allowed to adjust gradually. This is why awareness is more powerful than force. When you notice resistance without attacking yourself, something important shifts. Instead of asking, "Why am I like this?" the question becomes, "What is my system trying to protect?" And when protection is acknowledged, it no longer needs to sabotage. Once you understand this, you start seeing your patterns differently. The hesitation before sending an email, the delay before starting something meaningful, the urge to distract yourself when things begin to work. It's not fear of failing. It's fear of becoming someone you haven't emotionally met yet. And that doesn't mean stop moving forward. It means move without violence toward yourself. It means letting progress feel unfamiliar without deciding it's wrong. Change doesn't need to feel exciting to be real. Sometimes it feels quiet. Sometimes it feels uncomfortable. Sometimes it feels strangely empty at first. That doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means your identity is catching up. If this explains something you've felt but never had words for, you're not broken. You're adapting. This channel isn't about forcing change. It's about understanding what resists it. If that matters to you, stay.